World, welcome back to this new video. My name is Eunice Chan, and today we are talking about 4 ways to stay present while you're having a stage fright. And this is such a powerful conversation because I know that this is one of those things that is going to change your awareness and change your focus immediately in the moment when you are starting to feel nervous, you're starting to lose your thoughts, you're starting to feel ungrounded. I want to share with you, in my experience, the 4 things that have really helped me in the past, and it continues to help me stay grounded when I am starting to feel disconnected with myself. When I go on the camera, when I talk to people, and all those things. So this is going to be so powerful for you if this is in your experience where you feel like sometimes you just don't know how to tap back in. When you feel disconnected, you just don't know how to be back in your presence. And I think that this is really going to be a game changer for you. So stay tuned for this conversation if you know you're going to love it. So I want to first dive into what a stage fright is, what actually goes on in a stage fright. Because what I've realized is it's not just the emotion that overcomes us. It's usually a sequence of things that happen in our minds that cause us to become more disconnected and more distant with ourselves. And as a result of that, when we experience stage fright, right, we experience those emotions, and then on top of that, we start to feel disconnected with our audience. So people stop listening to us, they stop engaging with us, they start to feel like, what's with this person, and it's actually a sequence of things. It's not just one event that happens independently. So what I've realized is whenever we start to feel that emotion of stage fright, what's actually happening is we're starting to wonder, what are people thinking about me? Or we're starting to disconnect with the main message that we actually wanted to say. We are thinking about, are people actually engaging with me at all? Are they disconnected? Are they looking elsewhere? Are they looking at their phones? It's making me self-conscious. How do I look? Why are people staring at me like that? And so we start to have these thoughts that is other than the main message that we want to share. This is the reason why we start to feel afraid, because our ego steps in, our self-awareness steps in and starts to think that, oh my gosh, am I doing something wrong? Oh my gosh, am I not saying it right? Do I not look professional? Are people not, looking at me? Are people not paying attention to me, right? Am I not interesting? So all these thoughts are starting to compound, it's starting to come up in our awareness, and what's happening is that we are further entertaining these thoughts. And by thinking about just, oh my gosh, what are people thinking? And they're not looking, and they're looking away, and they're looking at their phones, they're distracted. It must mean that I'm not a worthy speaker. It must mean that I am not interesting. It must mean that my message is actually not that powerful. And when we engage with these negative thoughts that are very distracting, right? It's not empowering, it's not inspiring us, it's not helping us connect to the message. It's pulling us away from the message that we originally have. Whether if you are telling a story, whether if you are sharing an experience, whether if you're teaching something, whether if you're explaining a concept, it doesn't matter, but it is taking us away from what it is that we want to say. And the more we entertain these thoughts, the more we engage with these negative thoughts that are coming up in our experience, the more we just subconsciously, we just get sucked into, it's like getting sucked into a black hole. And then before we know it, we're hyperventilating, we're sweating, we don't know what to do, we're forgetting our words, we're forgetting our notes, we don't even know how to read our notes anymore, nothing feels legible, and we just completely lose it. So how do we come back to ourselves, right? This is the main point. At that time where you're starting to feel nervous, There is nothing you can do to make the feeling go away. But what you can do is change your focus, right? So when you change your focus, the first thing that I want to share with you, and this has worked very well for me. As a matter of fact, each and every one of these things that I'm about to share with you has worked incredibly for me to help me stay grounded in every conversation. And it's so powerful because it actually makes me fall in love with speaking. It makes me fall in love with connecting with people because it has the power to awaken a part of me that actually wants to communicate, that wants to express myself. So the first thing that I want to share with you, are you ready? Is be yourself. Be yourself. And this is probably really hard for some of you, or this probably sounds really trivial for you. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, be yourself. But there is so much power in owning your voice as it is, owning your personality, the way that you speak, your tone, your excitement, your emotions, and all things that come along with just who you are as a person. The things that you care about, the things that light you up, why you care so much about the thing that you're talking about. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. And I find that so many people forget to be themselves. It's like as soon as the camera is pointing at you, you forget to be yourself. So why is that the case? The reason why we forget to be ourselves, my nose is itching. For some reason, this happens like every single time I'm on camera. Like my nose itches. It's so funny. I don't know if this ever happens with you. So the reason why we forget to be ourselves is because sometimes we feel like when we are on camera or when we're talking to people, we have to look like we know. So not only do we have to know what we're talking about, but we have to look like we know what we're talking about. And those are completely different things. Yes, you know what you're talking about. You have already prepared, or you're telling your story and you know your story like the back of your hand, right? You're explaining a concept that you're very familiar with. And on the other side, you are so preoccupied with having to look like you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing, that we start to focus on, oh, how do I look more professional, and how do I look more worthy, and how do I look like what I'm saying is more valuable? Maybe I should emphasize the importance of what I'm saying. Maybe I should go into convincing mode where I justify the importance of what I'm saying. And then we just completely disconnect with who we are, right? When who we are is actually very simple, when we can just be in our essence, when we can just shine our personality, we could just share a space with someone, like, when we would talk to a friend, the words just come through. And the personality and the expression just comes through, and we're just relaxed when we are catching up with someone. But all of a sudden, when we think about, I have to look like a certain way, then we stop being ourselves. I have to sound more intellectual. I have to sound like a more powerful person. I have to sound more experienced than I actually am. Then I am imagining, right? I'm using a different faculty of my mind. Then I'm imagining and then trying to mimic what that perfect version of me looks like versus just being the version of me that I've always been. That is when you disconnect with yourself. So in order to connect back with yourself, just ditch the thoughts. Stop having to be this, perfect version of you, this professional version of you, this, intellectual version of you. Stop being this person who, has to have everything perfect, and just allow the ums and the ahs and the imperfections and the little glitches and the little ticks that you have. Just allow them to exist, and people will adore you. People will feel you and experience you just as you are, and you will feel ever more so natural and easy in your own skin. That is the biggest mind shift that I have had, in my speaking experience. I don't have to sound any other way. I don't have to sound more excited than I actually am. It's just, what you see is what you get. It's just what it is. So share your presence with people. And by presence, I mean share who you really are. You know, the authentic, the unadulterated version of you. That's going to make it so much easier for you. So tip number 2, I know I'm going like a bit far off with every point, but I hope that you are receiving this energetic exchange as well. So tip number 2 is connect yourself to the person that you're speaking to on an emotional level, on a deeper level, on a heart-to-heart level. So what do I mean by that? I'm talking about when you are speaking, don't get lost in your notes, in the points that you are trying to make, in making sure that your delivery is complete, in making sure that you say everything that you wanted to say. None of that matters if you cannot connect to the person that you are speaking to. Because when we think about communication, communication is basically just an energetic exchange. It's just you sharing your thoughts and you expressing your thoughts and you expressing your findings and discoveries and insights and perspectives and your values to another individual or group of individuals, right? It's just an energetic exchange. And based on, whether if they resonate or not, they may take it, they may not. They may believe you, they may understand you, they may not. But the whole thing that happens is an act of energetic exchange. So when you can start to think in terms of exchange of energy instead of exchange of intellectual information, you can then relieve yourself from the pressure of, I have to say everything, I have to make sure I say it in the right order, I have to make sure that I explain everything. And because it's not just intellectual information, when you're speaking to that person, you are activating a place in their heart, you're activating a place in their soul that has the potential to resonate with your energy. And so it's not just about delivering the information, it's about speaking to them such that they can feel you, they can connect with you, right? They can feel you through your words. So it's not about, having the perfect words to say, it's about whether or not if you can connect with that person, connect with that feeling and say what you really want to say to that person in the words that are coming for you in that moment, such that they can hear you. They can feel you with their body. And then, their mind processes, their intellect processes, their reasoning processes, and then they decide if they believe you, they decide if they resonate with you, they decide, if they're on board with you. But before all of that takes place, it's a deeper resonance that happens. It is an energetic exchange that happens that cannot take place unless you are connected to why you are talking to that person in the first place, to why this is so important to that person in the first place, to why you care in the first place. So the moment you start to feel disconnected from your speech, from your conversation, from your expression, remember that there is always another person sitting on the other side waiting to be inspired by you, waiting to hear you, waiting to feel you, right? Especially for those of you who are on camera, right? You're speaking on camera and sometimes it feels as though like you're not really speaking to anyone. It feels like it's just a dot in the phone, right? It feels like you're not really talking to anyone. But in reality, what you're saying right now, what I'm saying right now, even if you are not here with me live, right? Your audience will receive your energy on the other side. And so it's so important that you remember there is someone tuning in, whether if it's now, whether if it's tomorrow, whether if it's 3 years later or 3 months later, it doesn't matter. Remember that there is someone always tuning in on the other side. There's someone who is ready to receive your energy. And then that is when you can be reminded, oh my gosh, I'm actually speaking to a person. I'm not speaking to a bunch of people who are here to judge me. I'm not speaking to, just a dot on the camera. I'm not speaking to an audience that, are thinking that I'm not enough. I'm speaking to human beings. I'm speaking to souls, such that when I deliver this message to them, that they will receive it, whether or not if I receive a response or not. They will receive it energetically. And this is why I do what I do, right? This is how you can instantly connect back with your message. So tip number 3 is remembering to be back in your presence. Now, what do I mean by that? It's so easy to just tell people to be present, just remember to be present. But when we are present when we speak, when we are truly connected in the moment, a lot of times we just accept what is happening in the moment. We let go of what we think we're going to say in the future. We let go of what we have planned to say in the past. We let go of, the things that we have put down in our notes, all the little details, all the structures and all the things, and we are present and engaged. And when we are engaged in the moment, it means that I am playing with a substance of what is coming through my thoughts in the moment. I am playing with a substance of my emotions and my feelings, and working in this moment, figuring out in this moment to find the right words to come through to you, instead of thinking about how I want to have said it in the future, how I want to have sounded in the future, and what I have planned to say in the past, right? Whatever I planned that seemed to be perfect for me may not be perfect in this moment. So when you are present, what you need to do is allow yourself to find out what the words have for you in the moment, what the message have for you in the moment, what you are feeling in this moment, such that you can find out, you can figure out the right words to carry your emotion and carry your message through. And this is such a powerful thing, because a lot of times we have pre-planned, right? We have a mental construct of what our speech, our conversations should look like, that we tune out of this moment right now. Right? How many times have you rehearsed for something? How many times have you planned for something to say, that the moment you say it, it sounds a bit the same as the time you said it the last time, right? When you allow yourself to say something and be in the present, allow yourself to say it as though you were saying it the first time. Allow yourself to say it as though you were saying it the first time. Allow yourself to experience it as though you're feeling it the first time. So everything is heightened for you. That's the point. Everything is real time happening for you, feeling it right now, experiencing it right now. It's real, it's tangible, and you are finding out in this moment how it is best delivered to people in this moment. Not because you have planned out the perfect punchline yesterday, not because you have written out the perfect set of notes, on your computer, but it's about right now, what am I feeling? What am I feeling through this message? And allowing the words to find itself through. And it's a scary thing. I think for a lot of people, this is a scary thing, but the presence is the only place where you can be so here that you are not distracted, you are not pulled away from the future moment or a moment in the past. You are so here, you are engaged, you are looking at people, you are looking at, the screen, or you're looking into camera as though the room just disappears, everything just disappears around you, and all that is left is you and your message and the other person across the camera. It's so powerful. So the fourth thing that I want to share with you, and this is the last thing, and This has helped me ground myself all throughout the days and the moments of my life. So this does not only apply to, speaking in front of people, but it has helped me to speak, more comfortably and feel my presence when I speak in front of people. And the fourth tip that I think you're going to love is practice enjoying the feeling of your presence across all the times, all the moments of your day. So this is not just something that you do like in front of the camera or in front of people, but this is something that you can practice like on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. So how do we enjoy being more in the moment? How do we do that? The fact that we feel nervous in front of the camera, the fact that we feel that at all, the reason it happens is because we're not more connected in more moments in our lives. That's the only reason why it happens. Because the camera and people's attention on us suddenly increases our self-awareness. Like all of a sudden, it's like everything becomes heightened, everything becomes heightened, all eyes on us, all attention on us, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh my gosh, like I feel so vulnerable, I feel so exposed, like I don't know what to do, I don't know, I don't know what to say. Everyone's looking at me, but usually no one's looking at me. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at myself, I feel naked, I don't know how I feel. But this only happens because we are not more present and not more in touch in our lives. When we can be so present in our lives, when we can pay attention to how we feel, how we're interacting with the world, how we are carrying ourselves, how we show up, right? How we appear, how we sound, how we feel, and how we think in our lives, in more moments of our lives, then showing up in front of camera is just another moment, if you think about it, right? Because what makes presence in our life any different from presence in front of the camera? Because presence is presence. When I'm connected to the present moment, all that's really happening is there's a screen in front of me, or there's a bunch of people in front of me. But to be honest, the thing that I am saying is still the same thing. The thing that I'm doing is still the same thing, which is speaking, which is communicating, which is expressing myself. The only thing that is different, all of a sudden, the only thing that changed is the fact that there are people looking at me, and that there are people paying attention to me, and then all of a sudden I'm aware of what I'm feeling right now. So what if we could actually enjoy and practice the experience of being more in touch with our presence at more times throughout the day, such that, when we are doing automatic tasks, we're not disconnected. When we're doing things that engage our mental capacity, then we're present. We don't go into this present, non-present, present, non-present, present, disconnected, and, switching between these two sides. And we learn to enjoy the deliciousness and the amazing feeling of being present more throughout the day, more throughout our lives, such that the present moment becomes more amazing. It becomes the best thing that we could ever feel. We're so present that we want to be more in this place in our lives. We don't want to be disconnected. And as soon as I'm disconnected, I don't feel good. I want to be back, like connected back in the moment. And then you go back to your presence. I'm saying present so much, like I'm losing, the word is starting to like lose meaning for me. But what I'm saying is, when we can experience more of this heightened awareness in our lives, then all of a sudden when we stand in front of other people and when we are in the presence of other people, right, or when other people are observing us, then it becomes no problem, because we are so used to having this feeling of self-observation, right? The self-observation is already taking place. The self-awareness is already taking place. I already know how I feel. I'm already calm throughout the day. I feel safe with my thoughts throughout the day, right? I don't have to feel nervous all of a sudden when so much attention is being put on me, because all of this attention I am putting on myself throughout the day. So what difference does that make? I'm just doing my thing. I'm just speaking. I'm just sharing. I'm just saying a message to people. So those are the 4 tips that I have prepared for you to, help you come out of a nervous stage fright. For those of you, you might need some time to practice this and remember this, and really learn to experience your presence. But I hope that in this conversation that we're having, I hope that you can feel what presence feels like, because it's not really a checklist that you have to do. These 4 things are not a checklist that you have to go through. Your presence is something that you need to experience within yourself, such that when you are in the moment, you can really feel the texture and what your presence really feels like, so that you can have that memory in your body, right? It's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's a moment of awareness. And so I hope that you can feel this exchange of energy through this video. I hope that you can feel my presence as I share this moment with you on camera. No matter if you're watching it right now, if you're watching it later, it doesn't matter. It's all about being able to feel the fabric and the sensation of what your presence feels like. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know, what are some of the things that helped you in your communication and your self-expression. And I look forward to hearing from you. With that said, take care, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.